So welcome to Active Teaching Lab. It's the last one of 2020, and that I'm conflicted about because it's the last one of 2020, but it means it's the last one of 2020. It means 2020 is wrapping up, which I'm feeling happy about. I don't know about you. Just about done. Just about done with 2020. So today we're talking about the Canvas syllabus tool, and before we get started, I just want to give a shout out to Catherine Pekowski, who I don't know if she's in here today. I know she was just swamped with requests, so she may not. She'll be popping in later, perhaps. And then I'm also joined as well with the fabulous Ed Price.
Wow,
as always, if you have fabulous, yes,
wow.
fabulous. And if you have any questions and you'd like to make them verbally, always feel free. Just raise your hand, let us know you're there, and then feel free to turn on that microphone. Otherwise, keep the microphone off just so that we can preserve bandwidth and there's less coughing or dogs barking or, in my case, kids running around in the background. And now we are going to, we'll get started and we talk about the Canvas syllabus tool and some of the strategies that you can use to make that syllabus more impactful. And to do that, we're going to take another leap of faith and jump off into another screen of mine. So I'm going to start sharing this one and pop open a course that I had created in Madison, just because I had a pretty good online syllabus there. All right, so I'm popping that open right now, sharing it, and excellent. All right, so this is the TA training and online instruction course that I built at UW-Madison when I was working there. Madison has gotten rid of its syllabus tool. They don't support that anymore. And so you actually have to find a back door into it. But, you know, where there's a will, there is a way. There you go. Uh-oh. Assignments dash syllabus. Oh, now they decided, even though I was working on this all morning, I just forgot the forward slash. There we go. Thank you. There we go. All right, so there's their nice big old warning. All right, so this is a syllabus, online syllabus that I developed for an online course at UW-Madison, though it's going to work fairly the same, except for you won't have this irritating little banner at the top. And if you look at the syllabus tool, it looks kind of like, oh, this is something different and unique, but really all it is a page. If you click on Edit, you'll see that's really just the rich text editor, the normal rich text editor right here. With your 2 rows of buttons, and then plenty of room for you to just put in whatever HTML you would like to do. And Ed, if there's any questions for me, feel free to just stop me and as you're curating them and let me know.
Actually,
and then,
it's a lot about cookie exchange right now. So you just keep going.
Oh, okay. Well, good.
We're all talking about cookies.
Stay on topic, everyone.
Yeah, we are. You're off topic.
So you have the main content area right here, and then below that you have the course summary. Now, recently, Canvas just added the opportunity to turn off the course summary. If that's something you'd like to do, you can turn this bottom portion all off. So this is the syllabus tool within Canvas. I actually like the syllabus tool. I think it's pretty useful. It does a lot of really cool things, and what I really like about it is it gives you an opportunity to have a course, a syllabus that is really built to be seen inside of on a screen. It's not just a PDF that you're going to, you kind of designed a syllabus like we all have for a page, for a piece of paper, and then you're just going to have it on a screen. This is really built from the ground up to be seen on the screen. So that way when students are looking this on a mobile device, which many of your students will be on an iPad or on their phone, the screen will adjust so that the syllabus is readable even on a smaller screen, which a PDF just can't do. It'll just shrink everything down. So this just helps students to see it much more clearly. And the other thing I like about it right here is, that's why I had to kind of rewind the timeline, is that it has a nice little set of boxes. They're grayed out. Those are the days that assignments are due in this course. And I like how you can integrate then at the bottom below your syllabus that course, that course summary, which kind of goes day by day chronologically through all the activities and the assignments that the students need to do, right? But let's look at the syllabus a little bit more, because again, I did rebuild this as a digital syllabus. And so let's think about some of the things that I was doing. One, organization. So when I organized this syllabus, I was really trying to make certain that I put as much of the most important information at the top, especially above the horizon, right? So above that need to kind of scroll down below that, because really the syllabus is just a web page, and it's really important to think about this syllabus as a web page. And that information is the stuff that we are always trained as we're reading a web page. If you're just on Google, the first page of information, that's the stuff you really focus on first, right? And so that's what the students were going to focus on first. So I try to make that the stuff that's impactful. So what is the key course information, right? When the dates of this course are. Yes, I can. Ed, can you make a note for me to do that? What Sarah was just asking. And then, so I have course information, location of the course, it's all online, and then the online conference times, because the online conference times were essential for students to complete this course and to really get the most out of this course, right? And then below that, I had a picture of me, because again, students were never going to come into face-to-face contact with me. Some of them I never have met, but I've written to them. We've had email conversations for a long time, and so I had a picture of me. And if students wanted to hear to learn more about me, they could go to my website, or they could reach out to me. And these were my preferred contact methods: email, which was at the top, phone, and then also there's the office hours right there that I had available to them right there, all above the fold, so to say, or above the horizon. And then I scroll down a little bit. I have course description, right? I have what this course is and what it is not, course objectives. And as you're scrolling, look at some of the things that I was doing as well. I was using these big headers right here at the top. So course description, what this course is, what it is not. So making use of headers, that's really important to help students organize and to kind of be able to scan through, okay, where was this thing about the grading? I just got to scroll down a little bit and I can find, oh, course requirements and grading. If there's a question, Ed, that you think I need to answer or address, please let me know. Sorry, I just can't keep up with them.
No, that's okay. We're off the cookies and actually talking about this stuff now, so we're good. I'll let you know.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, and Hillary, you're absolutely right. I just saw Hillary's headers are absolutely essential for screen readers, because it allows people with screen readers to be able to scan through that as well much more quickly, because that header will alert the screen reader that there's a big change. The other aspect that I really like about what I was doing here is something called white space. And if you look at this course description, I mean, there's a nice big header and there's some bullet points as well, but there's a break. Oh, awesome. There's a break between this section and this section. And this is kind of a big section. And what this white space does is it gives your eyes a break. So that way, instead of having a long, just a flow of text, you have a nice break between the top section and the next section, and your eyes can take a rest. And it's then you're a signal for your eyes to stop. So it's less likely that you're going to be overwhelmed, and more likely that you're going to be able to feel like you can continue and read all of that content, which was quite a bit. As I keep going down, the other thing that I was making use of as well was URLs and hyperlinks. Make use of those. Hyperlinks to important information. Don't just tell students that you can go look at the source manual, or you can find more information at Teach Online or Teaching with Technology. Give links to them so that way they can go exactly where it is that you want them to go, right? The other thing that I was doing as well, and let's look right here. If you look, you can see I have this nice little table that has alternating colors, and if I scroll over it, my mouse does all kinds of cool, it highlights it really nice, and it's nicely centered. I really thought it looked cool. Don't do that. I was having to futz around with the CSS. I was kind of just toying with this really when I was building it. And when you're building this, just try to stay on more simple, impactful design ideas. So like white space, using headers, using hyperlinks. Don't mess around with the CSS. Don't go into the weeds, because this will break over time. And indeed, I've already seen little bits and pieces where like the white space between course structure and this table has already collapsed because of some sort of CSS change Canvas has made in the time between when I built this and now. So don't do fancy CSS. Just try to keep it a little bit more simple. As kind of what just kind of keep it a little bit more simple than what I was doing here, and what I was instead doing most of the other places, just using headers, using bullet points, and making good use of white space. Unlike right there, I should add some more white space. As I'm scrolling down, you'll notice as well that I have course expectations, which are really important to the course, but that's on a hyperlink. So let's follow that hyperlink. I'm going to click on that. Open it up in a new tab. Let's go to that tab. You'll notice that this was a pretty long document, but it's not as long as it could have been because I broke it out into sections. I had the main syllabus, and I might have even broke it up a little bit further, but then I had a separate course expectations page. And I felt this was really important for a couple of reasons. One, when we are writing a web page, our website, the stuff at the bottom, the stuff where you might put course expectations towards the end of your document, that's the stuff that we see on a web page as less important. The most important stuff is at the top in a web page or in a newspaper, right? The same here with course expectations. I felt these course expectations were essential for student success. So what I wanted to do was create a separate page so that way when the students navigated to that page, it was like coming to a whole new section. Like, oh, course expectations, that's its own separate page. That must be important. Oh, I'm going to read this much more closely than I would have if this was just at the bottom of my syllabus, right? So again, I'm resetting expectations for students as to how important I think course expectations are. So breaking your syllabus up a little bit can be a good thing, right? Just have it into clear sections that students can easily get to. So course expectations, again, using white space and headers and hyperlinks, all key, right? So I'm going to click back to this. All right. The other thing that I didn't do that I wish I would have done on this one is had a preface for the course summary. And this is the big complaint that I would often get about the course summary is that students didn't know how to use it or that it was there. And I had some instructors tell me that students wouldn't even read the syllabus. The instructor just left the syllabus page open and didn't have syllabus in that spot, so they didn't have anything up here. All they had was the course summary, and students were just going through the course line by line. They weren't even reading this course, the syllabus, or looking at expectations. So preface what the summary is for the students. Let them know what it is, how they can use it, what it's useful for. The course summary is great to give you an idea of what you need to do and when. Sometimes it may not have things like readings that you want students to do. So let them know that they need to make sure they go to the modules to complete their content. But this is a nice summary. And if you think that you don't want to use the course summary, always feel free to just turn it off by, I'll show you, going up to the top again, clicking on Edit, Show Course Summary, deselect that, Update Syllabus, and then that will go away and will no longer show. All right. So that's kind of how I built this syllabus. And it's a really basic one. It's mostly text. Did anyone have any comments or questions about this, or any ideas, or what they could do different, or some pushback, or things that they see that could be improved?
Do you want me to talk about why I don't like it?
You got your own section, Ed. Let's just back off now.
All right.
So I have a quick question. Can I ask a quick question, Lane?
Yes, please, Sarah.
Is the benefit to doing this here that you can look at the analytics of whether students have looked at it, or how is this a beneficial place rather than the first document in your modules? And why would you make that choice, or would you do both?
Let's well, I'll let Ann speak, but I'm going to table that directly for me answering it because I don't want to steal everything from Ed, because Ed's going to talk about this a little bit too. So it's a great question, Sarah, but I'm going to table it. And if Ed doesn't cover it and our discussion afterwards doesn't cover it, let us know and raise your hand again. Ann.
Well, mine's kind of an answer to Sarah. So I used to have like the Word document syllabus, and then it would live on the syllabus page and in the first module. But inevitably, there's always like 1 to 2 tiny things that need to get fixed. And so being able to just fix it on that syllabus page is like 4 fewer clicks than having to fix it in Word, re-upload it, make sure Canvas juggles the files appropriately, all that stuff. So it's easier to fix my mistakes.
Absolutely.
To that point, I have found that because the syllabus has more or less become a living thing now, like you say, and my syllabuses in courses are usually linked to a Google Doc. So if I change it in Google Doc, I don't have to change it 4 different places in my course. It's linked back to that document that if I change it one place, it changes everywhere. But that's just kind of the way
Ed,
I look at it.
Do you want to Oh, sorry. Do you want to just talk about your stuff? Because I think it's a good spot right now, actually.
So, when
as we were talking about,
yeah,
sorry.
when Lane said a couple weeks ago we're going to do this thing about the syllabus tool, I was like, oh, you were like, what's wrong? How do I make Google Lecture open Canvas? So hang on to that, Sarah. We'll come back to that. And Lane actually knows a more elegant way to put a Google Doc into Canvas. I usually just make it a link. But Lane, if you could remember to talk about that, that'd be awesome. So when Lane came and said, we're going to do this thing about the syllabus tool, and I was like, oh, count me out. I hate that thing. And I've softened to it over the week or two that we've been planning and looking at things like this. But my general dislike of it is when it's not, I'm going to show a screen here. So I'm going to steal your screen here, Lane. So when it's not cultivated, it really just, I think it reduces a course to a list of to-dos. And if you don't have due dates on it, which we always push people to have due dates on it, everything kind of falls off to the end. So one of my things I don't necessarily love about it is it's kind of a list of to-do. I always put the syllabus somewhere else, so I feel it's redundant, and I hate doing things multiple times. And I understand the, put it as many places as students can find it. Lane has obviously worked much harder on his syllabus page than I have, but I think most people that I encounter it through support and things, their syllabus page, they don't tend to it, so it becomes kind of this list of to-dos. I don't like that you can, and you can turn off the course summary, correct, right. But which a lot of people don't do, that turn things off. And I don't like the fact that you can't reorder it or group things, because I would like to group it into, here are all my assignments, here where my quizzes are, here are the discussions. I think reducing, if you look at it just from a raw tool, it's not as wrapped in context, so it just becomes a long list of things. The things I do really like is it does push the grading scheme out into people's faces, or not grading scheme, but if you're using a weighted graded book, it really tells them how things are. You can click, it's linkable. What's nice is if you go to any one of these, it takes you to that assignment, right? The course summary might explain why some of the students do their stuff in order. You could turn off the syllabus and then give the students access to the assignments. Yes. And I also, in my courses, I don't turn on assignments. Everything, I believe fully running everything through the homepage and accessing things that way. But I do like the fact that it is linked. So if a student comes here and just goes, what is that assignment? I can click right on it and it takes them to this assignment. This is a training page, so things aren't really developed well. But I agree in looking at the things, and I just pulled another positive into things because I don't want to always be like, why is everything so negative? But looking at what Lane has done with this syllabus course, it really is kind of a workaround for those of us that would like to see something rather than the homepage of just a list of modules and things. So in Lane's case, I think he's really worked it. So what would, if you've looked at other instances of Canvas and we get list requests in B59 or through our comments a lot, when are we going to have something besides this homepage? And it really is kind of another workaround for the homepage. And I really like what Dylan has done with his homepage and the table of contents. Just working in support as much, that just that little bit of, as soon as you tell someone, oh, just grab this code and move it from here to here, we probably lose 75% of people that are like, yeah, I don't know anything about code except my garage code. So I think that becomes difficult for people. So it's not an awful tool. It takes cultivating, like Lynn said, it's a cultivated garden. And if people aren't cultivating and using it well, I don't love it. So there's my add-on for you, Lane. So can you show how to remove the course summary one more time? Sure. So if you go to the syllabus page and then you go to edit, and then it will have a show course summary. Just click on there, update the syllabus. So when you go back to the syllabus, there's no course summary. It's just, it removes that list, which to me makes it a little better. It's like when people don't like Brussels sprouts and then we add some bacon to it. So it's actually not as bad, but I like Brussels sprouts. So maybe that's a bad analogy. So, and obviously I'm hungry because I'm talking about Brussels sprouts.
Did people eat Brussels sprouts without bacon at some point? Like
someone does. I'm not really sure. Yeah. So that's kind of the way I look at it. And I think it's like any other tool I use. Lane, like a screwdriver is great, but it doesn't necessarily work well to pound in nails. So it's using the tool and understanding the tool.
Right.
I guess I'll stop sharing my screen so you can have it back, Lane.
And making certain you explain to students, and making certain
Yes.
you share to students why you are using the screwdriver. Why are you using a screwdriver and not a hammer in this situation? And explaining that out. Why are we using the syllabus tool? And it has to be obvious to students that, oh, I'm going to use the syllabus tool because it allows, I'm going to format it in such a way that it can be adjusted. I'm going to use that course summary, and I'm going to explain to students what that course summary does. And I'll talk to them maybe at the beginning of the class, like a course welcome video, like we talked about last week. Hey, if you want to look at your syllabus, it's not going to be just a document. It's in the syllabus tool. Click on the course navigation bar, and here's the syllabus, and walk them through that. I think that can be really helpful for the students and making it sticky for them as well, explaining to them, oh, I have this all set up in this structure, and I have it using headings, and I'm using the course summary or not using, I'm using the course summary and explaining why. I think that can be really helpful for students in explaining the thought process.
I think some of my dislike from it is because before I came to CETL, I worked at another institution where it wasn't as restricted, so you could use a home page. So I saw it kind of as a redundant. Why would I do it there and do it here? So, I mean, UW is a little tighter with things, so yeah. It's kind of a workaround. But the other side of that, not to get way off topic, is allowing anything as a home page became the Wild West, and it was just as bad because you had things all over the place and everybody doing things differently. So,
yeah, absolutely. But I really appreciate that, and I think like the benefit is if you're going to build it up from HTML, it's a great tool to use because it really helps make it adjustable to the screen. But if that's not where you're at right now, that's fine, and then just get rid of it and hide it, and you can easily hide it by taking it off the navigation bar. And if anybody needs help doing that, we can walk them through that as well. The last thing I really wanted to bring up was one of the things that I found as just being so useful to helping students make certain students read the syllabus and to help students really to dial in on what parts of the syllabus I felt were absolutely crucial for their success. And that's just a syllabus quiz, right? And the syllabus quiz offers us a lot of opportunities. It offers you the opportunity to do just that, hold students accountable to reading it, help students to interpret it, because we may think the syllabus is a painfully obvious document, but it's not that to our students. And we want to make certain, as I'm pulling up my screen here, that we're making it clear to students. Let's see, instructure.com. Sorry, I'm just going to pull up. Now, we want to make it clear to students what it is that we think is the most important aspect of a course. And we want to make it easy for students to understand what's most important for a course. And the other thing as well that I think a syllabus quiz does a really good job of is it really helps us to re-emphasize those points. So students aren't just interacting with that content in the syllabus itself, like when is the office hours, how many posts am I supposed to do in a discussion. It allows them to re-engage with that content at a second point, just to kind of really drive home those issues that you think are important for them to know. So I'm going to pull up a course, another course that I taught. Let's see, history. Come on, little mouse. There we go. Oh. Sarah's got something. Another recommendation, making sure students can find the info they need in the Canvas site. You might create a brief video walkthrough of your site. Oh, that's so great. That highlights key details you want them to know and any areas you want to make sure they have access. Yes, absolutely. Thank you. And I like the Easter egg aspect as well, Sarah Refrigetti. And then Sarah, thank you for that as well. Just to kind of, we can also mix modalities. We can have the syllabus, but then we can have the welcome video or a course overview where students can engage with that syllabus via audio and video, and you can walk them through that syllabus and kind of say, hey, this is the stuff that I think is really important, which can be really crucial because we do that all the time in a face-to-face class. We often spend the first day talking through aspects of the syllabus and walking through the parts that are important. So that's another great opportunity to kind of take that online. I'm just going to show you the sample of the syllabus. So I had a syllabus from this history course that I taught. In the first week, I made students do a syllabus quiz. I made it worth points. I absolutely made it worth points because otherwise students wouldn't do it. It was mandatory. I also made certain that students had as many times as they wanted to take it, but I had a time limit on each one just because I didn't want them to, I wanted them to have that information somewhat fresh or at least review it a couple times. All right, so I'm going to go to the preview and just to kind of show you, some of the questions that I was asking. They weren't all super serious, but some of them I think were pretty good. This first one, what is not a course objective in this course? So that question means that you have to read each one of these options, and each one of these options are indeed a course objective, and the answer was they are all course objectives. Again, I wanted the students to interact with these main points, so that's what I wrote it into a question, right? Another aspect of the course that was essential for students was we were talking about what history is and what history isn't. So again, just to reiterate aspects that I thought were important that I had in the syllabus, I made sure I asked them in the quiz as well. When should you contact Mr. Sunwall? Right here, question 3, only to beg for extra credit whenever the need should arise, only after I had flunked a quiz, only during office hours. I wanted students to contact me whenever and whenever they need it, and I wanted to emphasize that. So I put that in the quiz. When are office hours? Again, I wanted to make certain students knew when these office hours were and how to contact me and get in touch with me. Should you do the course readings? Yeah, it was your grade depends on it, right? Again, emphasizing the main points of the quiz. Group work. This is the question students always ask me. Like, I hate group work. I don't like doing group work. But again, we were talking about throughout that first week and in the syllabus as well, why group work was important, what you were trying to get out of it. And I was maybe having more fun with this one, but again, it was kind of reinforced that main argument that I had been emphasizing throughout those first weeks. A discussion board question, talking about posts, talking about participation. What are some of the expectations for that, and when classes were actually going to be held, because this was a blended course. So we had to have stuff. We just let students know that you needed to show up for courses on Wednesday and Friday, and you didn't have to show up on Monday. So again, want to make sure students didn't waste a trip on the bus down to campus. All right, so that was the quiz. And so again, I just had the students go through that, and I found at the end of that, over the course of that semester, that I had a lot fewer questions about the syllabus, like a lot of fewer questions that were obviously things that were on the syllabus. I found as well that it helped set expectations as well, that I had, students that these quizzes, that I would have a weekly quiz. This is one of those quizzes that was weekly, that students had a quiz every week. And this was the kind of the foundation for that. And they always told me that these weekly quizzes I had kind of annoyed them. And it was it drove them nuts sometimes. Because it meant that they actually had to do the readings and had everything prepared for class on Wednesday. And I was like, that's exactly why I do it. And they're like, yeah, I know. And so, again, it was one of those things that was just to help students be accountable for the work that I had them to do, had them doing. And it was just kind of an easy way that I could help them as well. It was low stakes, though they were worth points, so they had to do them. But it was a nice low stakes way of making sure that they're being accountable for the content. So that was the tool that I used, just kind of one method I use, and there's lots of other good methods you can use in addition or besides this. Using videos was one of those ideas that I thought was really good. So just kind of reviewing, this was one option for making that quiz impactful, and then we talked before a little bit about using the headings, building that syllabus as an HTML document, using white space, having it organized, really thinking about it as a web page, having pictures. Breaking it up as well, so it's not just one super long document. And that's basically what I wanted to talk to you about today. Is there any questions or comments or something you wanted to address before we move into the next segment? All right, so the next aspect that I wanted us to tackle was a group activity. And so we talked today about some strategies to make your syllabus clearer, easier to navigate, more useful. And so today's discussion activity, I wanted your group, so we'll break you up into groups. Ed, can you start that process of breaking up into everyone into groups of 3 or 4, whatever you think is best? Maybe 3, I think we have 13. Yeah, 3 would be perfect. Ed, you just shared the Google document. Thank you very much. On the Google document, there is a link to a collaborative group slides. Ed is going to break us up into groups, and you will be in a group 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. You will see this slide, this slide deck right here, these Google slides. And so just go to the slide with your number on it. So if you're in group 3, go to group 3, and then follow the instructions. So what we're going to do is we are going to have everyone break into groups, and we're going to work on some of these things that we talked about today. We are going to take a plain text syllabus and edit it up a little bit to make it more impactful, to make it more, make some of the headings a little bit more, clear, to organize it better for our students, maybe add some white space as well. So you'll go to the slide deck and you'll have right here a sample syllabus to edit. And please only one person edit it because it's in Canvas, and if multiple people edit, you will lose some of your changes. And if possible, the person who's going to be a syllabus editor, if you could share your screen with the rest of the group so everyone can follow along and see what you are doing. So one person be a note taker, one person be a presenter, one person be a syllabus editor. And we'll work on some of these strategies and then come back after about 10 minutes, and your group can talk about ones you thought were most impactful as you built that document. What do you thought really help you identify the key points of that syllabus? And then what other strategies you might have used that you just didn't have time for before we came back and talked about this together. So let's see, we'll do 15 minutes, and then so 10, 12 minutes to really work on the syllabus, and then 3 to 4 minutes, answering some of these questions, and then we'll come back and discuss this as a group. So Ed, if you want to break us all up, that would be fabulous. Thank you as well for all your work on this, because let me tell you, I was talking with Ed about this. I sometimes get bored giving instructions, and so I probably skim over them faster than I should. And I realized when I dropped into group 1, I was like, oh my goodness, I didn't explain that very well. So I apologize for that, and thank you for all your figuring it out and reading between the lines. You did great. It's all a good highlight for us to make sure you explain these things to your students before you drop them into the group. And if you do, to kind of maybe jump between the groups, make sure everyone knows what's going on. Okay, so I'm going to go to group 1, which is in group 5, and whoever the presenter was, talk to us. What were the things that you changed? What do you thought was most impactful to help students navigate this syllabus and get the information? And what would else have you done if you had some more time? Group 1.
We didn't have much time. This is Catherine. We
oh, hi.
We added pictures, and we added space, and we added headers, and we organized some numerical things, but it took a long time to get into the document.
Okay. Yeah.
So this is about as far as we got. But so mainly, and we felt like the course description and introduction was too long, but we did not know how. We didn't feel comfortable assuming that we could edit it. Either that or the objective. Something was very long.
Something was long. Yeah, no, they're both long. What would you have, how long do you think is a good, what did you think as, was it be a good length? Like 1 paragraph?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. 1 paragraph, good. No, that's good. So that tightening up the course description and introduction, this wasn't Dwight Schrute that actually wrote this. It was actually me. And so yeah, I get wordy sometimes, and I think that would be really good, is to shorten this up a little bit to kind of really focus on some of the big points. TC, you had a question.
Yeah, I don't have a question. I just have a comment. It's like me teaching for about 8 years in and around US and India. It seems like for a syllabus, what students are mostly looking into are not these extra long descriptive, additional, ornamentational parts of the syllabus. They barely care. If you want to have it, keep it as a separate link and they can look at it whenever they want. But this information, if it's coming as a web page format the way we are doing it, it should be very crisp. Because people get screen fatigued reading about things. So I were in this place, I would not have written all these things in one place, like this big one.
No, that's really. Yeah, I mean, because we write. I mean, the course description I wrote because I had to write that as part of the fellowship that I was doing to teach this course. And so I popped it in here because that was what is expected by the department. And I think that was the inappropriate place to put that was right here in the syllabus. I think TC a really, really nice point. Like, put it someplace else. Maybe, to Sarah's point before, talk about it in the video or the course introduction. You don't need to necessarily have it here. Get to the point of what the students want to know. That was really great. I really like that. That was really cool. Thank you.
For undergrad students, this is not that useful. Maybe for a graduate student, it might be because we deal with things in a little different way about syllabus. So for an undergrad course, this is way too much information for them.
TC, I don't know. I'm just going to jump to group 3 then. So group 3, what did you folks have? Because that was your group, I noticed.
I think Suzanne's going to talk about it.
Hi. Sorry, I just had to unmute. So should I share our group 3 or is somebody else sharing it or should I
have it right now.
Oh, okay.
I have it up there right now.
So some of the things that we talked about were, let me find my notes page. We talked about, I thought it was good. My group talked a lot about importance. So, the things that should be larger should be the things that are most important. So we did a lot of work on the headings. Things like the course calendar weren't labeled, and then just even to break up the page, we wanted to use headings, and then we used bolding, and we could change the fonts. I think we did things like underlining, things like formatting where on the page things were like right justified. We added a lot of white space because we thought, getting back to that part about screen fatigue, that was an issue. And we liked the action verbs that were used, but we thought, they definitely needed, like, they were just saying about the phrases instead of lengthy sentences, and that the heading should be meaningful was something that came up. Like, if the heading doesn't really mean anything to the students, then it's not as valuable. And something we didn't have time for is we didn't really add any pictures, but we could see, again, breaking up that text. And again, related to that idea of importance, if all things are kind of equally important, maybe use bullet points, but otherwise, it could really inform students if you're numbering, maybe make those like 1, 2, 3, those things either something they need to know in order or something by level of importance.
That's great. I like that as well. Like, not just making everything the same, but making things a little bit more meaningful as you go down. And scaffolded essays, what is that? I think something that could be more impactful for the students as your headers. That was good too, Sonia. Thank you. Yes. Excellent. Thank you very much, group 3. And then before we have to go, I'm going to go to group 1, which was actually group 5 because, I messed up. Oh, no, it was group 2. Sorry. I'm going to group 2 now. All right. Group 2. Whoever's on that one.
So this is Hillary. I'm going to do our talking. I'm going to, we did a lot of things that other groups did. There were a couple of things that I wanted to emphasize that we did. First of all, to Sonia's point about scaffolded essays not being meaningful, one of the things we would do if we had the time to fully play this out is take that information about the assignments out of the syllabus and have the links to where the assignment is elsewhere in the Canvas course, so that they don't have all that information right there. It's easier for them to find.
Oh, so good. So we're breaking it up and we are doing the hyperlink so it's easy for students to get to the thing that you want them to do. And if they want to find out about scaffolded essays, they can just go right there. That's awesome.
Exactly. And our other thought is that a student is not going to think to look for information about the assignments in the syllabus. So we took that out. And then you can also see we have other links, like links to the readings and things like that. But the other big thing I want to point out that we proposed doing was removing that schedule at the bottom of this syllabus, because that seems very much like a holdover from when this was a paper syllabus.
Because it was.
Because it was, right? Yeah, I mean, that's what I had to do with mine too. The course summary is going to repeat a lot of that. Depending on how your module is set up, your modules are set up, that's going to repeat a lot of that. If there is a need for this schedule to be a separate page, not just one of the automatically generated things in Canvas, then fine, make it a page and hyperlink out to that page. But it doesn't need to be at the bottom of the syllabus, because can you imagine all that scrolling to get to the course summary if you also have all of this immediately above it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are the things that we mentioned that no one else mentioned.
This is so exciting. Awesome. Thank you for all workshopping my syllabus, everyone. I really appreciate it. It was really cool. No, this was really good. And I really love the emphasis on just, rethinking how we even think about a syllabus, right? Like I literally just copied and pasted a tech, my papers PDF or my Word document into here. And this is kind of how I would start with a syllabus, but I think it's been really helpful to go through your suggestions, and it's really rethinking what a syllabus is. And we're really not just having a syllabus, having this course information in one location like we might have used to as an undergraduate, have all of this stuff in one place because you didn't use the web for this type of information, having your course summary, but really like breaking this out into different chunks to where it's most useful to the students, and really focusing on the students when we're building our syllabus, not having, so long worded texts, not having, maybe hyperlinks, but not having assignment information in the syllabus. And then your course description introduction, things you might have wrote to get that course approved or to get that course, through committee. It doesn't need to be there for your students, but maybe you can put it someplace else and have an abbreviated version there. That was really great. Thank you so much. Nancy, I said, recently I suggested to Dave Clark that the beginning of semester memo gets loaded into every Canvas page. I hope they get that implemented as soon as spring. Dave and the others at the meeting love the idea. Yeah, absolutely. So thank you, everyone, for such a really delightful conversation. I learned a lot just by listening, and these such great ideas. So I appreciate everyone's work on that, even though I messed up the instructions. So I'm going to stop sharing this, and we're going to share the slides and take us out. I apologize for the lateness the earliness in the next hour, the lateness of the day. Popping this open. So thank you, everyone. And really, I just want to thank you not only for today's wonderful session, but really all semester long. Really, I appreciate just, coming in. We have so much going on with COVID. I really appreciate you just carving out a time in your day each week, or as many times as you're able to come, just coming in and being here and participating. And it was just wildly fun. I really appreciate it. Yes, thank you. You're welcome. It was my honor. And really, that's what Active Teaching Live is about, is just bringing together a community and really sharing ideas together and learning from each other. I learn as much from you, I'm sure much more than what you learned from me or Kathy or Ed. Next semester, we need some speakers. So it's not just Kathy, Ed, and I, but we really would love to learn from you. And you have obviously demonstrated you all have some great ideas. So please, every one of you, doesn't matter if you've come once or come a million times, please if you have an idea for a presentation for Active Teaching Lab, please share that. If it's a great idea, share it. If it's a bad idea, share that as well. Some of the most important things that I've learned from other people is how not to do a course, because then it saved me from doing the exact same thing again. So good ideas, bad ideas, tell them all. Let's share together and learn from each other. So please call for speakers, share it with your friends as well. And please, before you leave, make certain that you share, you do the exit ticket and evaluation. I'll put that on the Google chat before we go, so don't do that. Don't leave before you get that code, because I will definitely read those over like I always do. I'm going to pull open that, and once you get the exit ticket and you finish, you can feel free to head on out. Thank you again. Ed and I will stick around as well. So thank you so much. And